And welcome back. Well, it's estimated that 100 million Americans will take a road trip this year, many of them heading out this holiday weekend. So here to help us maximize fuel efficiency and cut costs at the pump this summer is the Vice President of the American Petroleum Institute. It's Frank Macchiarola. Good morning to you, Frank.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You know, I'm heading out on the road. Many of us are today to get out of town for the holiday weekend. And I already see that prices are higher. What is it about holidays and the summer in general that really makes the fuel prices rise?
Sure. Like all markets, the laws of supply and demand really drive the price that we pay at the pump. So while federal, state, local taxes can have an influence on the overall cost, it's largely driven by the cost of oil, by the price of oil. Oil is a global commodity. There are several factors that can increase or lower the price of oil, but that global factor is really driving our local price that you see when you drive up to the pump.
It's frustrating when you see that price go up. You're like, oh, I should have done it last week. But, sometimes when we can't handle that. But our driving habits, I'm wondering, is it really based on our car for fuel efficiency, or do our driving habits play a part?
Driving habits do play a part. There are some tips that you can do that can stretch your dollar as you're thinking about ways to have cost savings in the Memorial Day weekend. Things like making sure your tires are inflated, making sure you don't have excess weight in your trunk, and that you're not idling excessively. And of course, one tip that's not just about fuel efficiency, but about safety. Make sure we're driving the appropriate speed limit, and so you're getting safely from point A to point B in this holiday. Those are things, they seem simple. They seem like they won't have an effect, but they actually do have a meaningful effect in helping to increase our fuel efficiency.
That helps. I'm into those things. When we talk about energy policies, are there any policies that should be in place to help us at the pump as consumers?
Over the last decade, we've been helped tremendously by the American energy revolution, which has enabled us to use more of our own energy, to access our own resources, and to really provide not just an economic benefit to the American people, but to strengthen our energy security and our national security. So we're not as reliant on foreign sources as we used to be, and that's been a big help for the American consumer. There are some things that we can continue to put in place. Obviously, more access to that American energy would be a great policy. We need to strengthen our energy infrastructure. People talk a lot about roads and bridges and highways. Those are very important priorities. We also need to make energy infrastructure a priority, pipeline infrastructure. So again, we bring our product from areas of high supply to areas of high demand. And again, it's all to benefit the driving public and the American consumer.
Is the current administration a help or a hindrance when it comes to energy policies?
I think policymakers of both parties recognize that the oil and gas industry has been a huge driver in this American energy revolution. They also recognize, I think, that for decades to come, American energy is going to be needed, and that energy is going to be oil and gas. The Energy Information Administration, an independent source, tells us that for generations to come, oil and gas are going to be our primary energy source. And so what we need to do as we think about policies is we need to think about how we unleash American ingenuity to be able to use our own resources and to be able to provide that benefit to the American consumer.
Great food for thought as we head into the holiday weekend. Thank you so much for joining us, Frank.
Absolutely. Go Bucks.
Yeah, thanks for that. Here's more information if you want to check it out. It's api.org.